Yes, I'm gonna tell you something that you probably heard 1,000 times, and within that 1,000 times, it probably went through one ear and came out the other ear. You heard it at home, you heard it at school, you damn near heard it so much that you believed it would have sinked in by now, like it would have been something that was second nature. And because you've heard it so much, I must ask, why haven't so many of us gone about implementing that into our lives? Why has it become so difficult for us just to go about doing this one thing? This one thing that would help us go about finding peace in our life. Now, because so many of us are coming to go about discovering the person that we are, we have been left to go about mimicking all sorts of things, right, wrong, or indifferent. It was all part of the transitional phase in discovery. So there's no fault of anyone who have tried or who have gone about implementing models, which in to go about finding out who they are. Like when you went to school, you were told follow the leader, but it's a conditioning tool, which in that it promotes a oneness and everybody marches to the same beat and so forth. You got older, do it like how Timmy does it. And before long, you begin to go about replicating what other people were going about telling you. And in conditioning, it becomes a part in which the adaptiveness takes over, meaning that because we were trained to go about always doing like what other people have been doing, we keep neglecting this very important thing. And in neglecting this very important thing, it it has gone about having us feeling estranged to ourselves. It has have this feeling as if though if I do this, then I'm out of place. But this that I'm talking about, this that I am trying to go about emphasizing, is that how many of us have gone about coming forth with being authentic to ourselves, and being authentic to ourselves, do we find ourselves changing just to go about fitting the mold, or do we stay true to who we are? And the reason I go about saying that is, if you are changing as if though you're a chameleon, you are not being authentic to your true self. And that is a disservice to who you are. Because how could you ever go about living your best life if you're not embracing who you are? If you're at odds with the things that you go about doing, the statements that you go about making, or the confrontations that you go about having with yourself or with others, how is it then that you're going about living your best life? Because the one thing that we all must come to remember in this notion is that purity always supersedes imitation. Now, we may not come to be beloved or embraced by all, but no one was, no one is, and no one will ever be. That's what makes things so special. And in that, when those that go about living their truth, walking in their light, it helps them to see what's going on around them. Because like-minded people reside with like-minded people. Now, if you're a fake, don't you think you will be put to shame by those who are real? Because the young lady said it best. And in that, when you find a partner, and in finding that partner is independent, that partner is self-sufficient, that partner is basically self-sustaining, one must go about asking themselves, what do you go about bringing to that relationship? And if one should ever believe that that partner needs that next person, that person is sadly mistaken. Because the thing that the partner is looking for is for somebody to go about being themselves. You see, a lot of us have it misconstrued, and then we believe that we have to be what the next person wants us to be. We have to live a facade. We have to go about living up to a presumptive notion, and this is how it's supposed to be. But not too many of us go about embracing that I just have to be my true self. And in being my true self, then that person will go about loving me for who I am. There's always room for improvement. There's room for growth. But the minute you go about embracing yourself truly, inside and out, then you will continually grow. So don't ever believe you could ever be what somebody else wants you to be. And there's been cases upon cases where people have gone about entering into a relationship and have gone about wrecking that relationship because they had no conceptual idea of what it meant just to go about being themselves. They filled their ideologies up with all these facades and trying to go about pleasing everybody else, but left feeling sorrow and abused at the end of the day. And when we go about looking at it, we have to go about looking from a point of view in that, did anybody ever ask us to go about doing these things that we're doing? Or is it just an ideology that we have been filled with from the days of our childhood? Be yourself. It is very important that you go about being yourself. Live your true life. No matter where you go, you will be respected and walking in your truth. It doesn't matter the company that you keep, because they will see that you walk with a level of consistency, and the way how you carry yourself, they have no other option but to go about respecting it. But if you are looking for everybody, for everyone, for the anonymous to go about liking you, then it's a foolish man's thought. And in that, he believes by running a con that he is fooling everybody else. But one thing that the con man has to go about realizing, the only one that he is conning is himself. Because there's a karmic law. What goes around comes around. So the road that we go about paving is the road that we're going to go about traveling. And in time, let our actions be one of soundness, one of beauty, one of joy. And in that, we go about walking, living, and breathing in our authentic self. Now that's one, my blessing.